Hello. Welcome to Cross Pollination. I'm your host, TJ Reynolds. This is basically like a version of Wayne's World that takes itself way too seriously. Today, we have a special edition. We have all spoken word poets on our show today. These are some different artists that I've encountered. Just in my time being a spoken word artist, and have just been able to share stages with these people and really respect what they bring. It's been a long time since I've been at a poetry reading, and I'm definitely missing it. So that's part of the motivation of making this happen. Thank everybody for tuning in. Feel free to, chat with us if you're on Twitch. And we're going to go ahead and bring out our guests. And some will be joining us a little later, but we're going to bring some out right now. So let's welcome, we have Jason Ammerman joining us. Hello, Jason. We've got Robin Scott here. We've got the Tuesday Xavier Collective here. And we've got Manon Voice in the house. And I think that's where we're at right now. So welcome, everybody. Hey, great to see you.
Hey. Hey.
Hi.
Yay. I appreciate so much you joining us.
I'm sure you've all heard the old wives' tale that no hypnotized subject may be forced to do that which is repellent to
something's
nature,
coming from somewhere.
No.
Okay, there we go. That stopped. So wonderful to see everybody. I think I've been looking forward to this all week. And just, it's been such a heavy year, I think, for everybody. Something that has been able to carry me is words in all sorts of different forms. So we're going to share some words with you. We're going to keep it a little bit loose. We'll talk to our guests who are joining us from different parts of the globe, and we'll share a lot of art. I'm going to go ahead and just drop a little clearing poem for us, and then we'll talk a little bit and share a few more pieces. But I guess I'll kick it off. Go. Begin. Start. Okay. No. Engage. That's not it. Enlist. Impact. Impart. Originate. Inaugurate. Set in motion. Commence. Establish. Implement. Open. Get underway. Birth. Create. Align, achieve, institute, initiate, enter, root, follow my hunch, jump the gun just to beat you to the punch, imagine, immerse, imprint, impress, expound, expose, explore, express, revamp, revive, reveal, revolt, release, realign, realize, reapproach, get it popping, cracking, jumping, rolling, swollen, go far, maybe tightly controlling. Pulling all stops and inject a little soul in every opportunity and diabolical obstacle that's humanly possible. I'm not going to fold. Pull resources so I never take a dive. Shake God's hands firmly and look in my maker's eyes when it's time to meet her. Say I made the most of my time. But in the mean, I hope that I find every mission, reason, goal, and purpose, and let you know your voice is anything but worthless. And it's good if what you say makes you a little nervous. It means you're offering more than mere lip service. It's your thoughts, your ponderings, your ideas, and your dreams. What you feel is right and wrong and everything that's in between. Your ideas, your theories, and your contemplations, because you are more unique than some constellations. So from now on, your sign is not on the dotted line, but that sense of urgency turned tingle in your spine. It's a wrinkling of time where it seems to stand still. Where you're floating instead of falling like an anvil. Words can kill. Clean, confess, admit to all our failures and sins and bad habits and be renewed, reborn, remember with reverence, because we were expressing with the voice the moment we were born, and we have been ever since. So I'll go first and hopefully try to open up your heart. And now you kick it off. Go. Begin. Start. Thanks. Oh, all right. So, poems about poetry. It's a whole thing that poets do, and we can't help it, you know. But it's like learning to draw from comic books. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and start with my person here to right to my side here. I don't know if that's my left or right. I'm confused. But Jason, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. Tell us, where are you calling from right now?
I'm in Indianapolis, in a wonderful 140-year-old building, and it's just got a good vibe to it. And the brick and all that good stuff really kind of makes me feel pretty chilled. So yeah, I'm ready to do this, man. It's good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Very happy to see, folks I haven't seen in a while, someone I've met tonight. Very excited. But yeah, things have been going really well, aside from the obvious pandemic blues and whatnot. But, we still write, we still create. And, I really appreciate you giving us a venue for this.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate having you here. Yeah, dude, what piece you gonna drop for us first here?
I am going to write the first poem right after we went on lockdown here in Indy in March of last year. We went into lockdown on St. Patrick's Day on the 17th of March, and this is the first poem I wrote because I was out of work and we shut down everything. So I was like, well, I'm gonna write. So this is it. It's called. This is another thing poets do when you can't come up with a good title. You just throw the date on there, right? This is called 3/19/2020.
Okay.
I love the rain. I mean, I really love the rain. The smell of the rain, the cool droplets as they splash on the skin. I also love a good jazz song. Not some dirge, something with some bop to it, to tap my feet to it, to splash around in a puddle to it, freshly made with fresh water drops as they fall to it. And I would have some rhythm to the tapping and the splashing. And I would sing with it as if my life depended on it. A song. The very survival of humankind is inside of a song. Each crescendo note building into an octave climb. This is jazz. This is simple. I love it. The rain, the smell of the rain, the money of jazz, the clink of the change as it falls through fingertips and lands onto freshly wet pavement. Yet the sound is muted today. The metal, the sexy metal, I miss it. The sexiness of the rain, turning leaves over as if there is a storm coming. I am ready, a pressed suit on me, a tuxedo to be exact, but no shoes, no socks, just barefoot. The water as it comes up out of the puddle is mesmerizing. I am stunned in slow motion, leaping. I am amphibious. I am funky. I am poet. I am miscellaneous. I am song and emotion. I love the rain, the smell of the rain. The question of jazz is mesmerizing. I am kept in waiting by the insanity of this jazz, by the superlative storm coming in, comforting the cool droplets as they splash upon my skin. I am guilt, but I am no ashamed aphrodisiac. I mean to be sexy, just like the rain. Thank you.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, let's keep it going. We'll move over to Robin. Yeah, when you read that piece, I heard rain. Just by the way, it was like hitting against the window pane, and it was just there. It was the soundtrack that was just invisible. Um, Robin, hello. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. It's good to see you, TJ.
It's good to see you. Can you tell the world where you're calling from right now?
Sure, I'm about as far away as you can get. I'm up in the northernmost region of Canada in a place called Northwest Territories in a town called Yellowknife. And so it is a balmy minus 40 degrees here today. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here with all of you.
Yeah, it's so cold there. They don't even mess with the wind chill. Like they're just like, like yeah, and it's great because you're about to host an open mic. There's no COVID there. First of all, you didn't have Donald Trump,
That's right.
so that was great.
So we win.
And so there's no COVID there. So you're going to host an actual open mic soon for the first time in a long time, right?
That's right. There's definitely some restrictions here. And the reason that we have no COVID is because things have been so locked down for so long. But with closed borders here and lots of precautions happening, we're able to host small events. So on Valentine's Day, through our organization called Northwards, I'm going to be hosting a Valentine's Day open mic. And I'm going to get about 25 people on the stage and we get to perform. And it's been too long. I'm really excited.
I love it. I love it. And plus, don't overlook the fact that you can just have the vaccine sitting outside. You don't need like a super refrigerator at all. It's just not going to go bad. It's
right.
So Robin, what are you going to share with us first today?
Sure. Well, you were talking about poems about poetry, so I thought that was a good place to start. I'm going to do just a little guy to start us off, and this one's called Talk Wordy to Me. Brush your fingers along my cover, gently tracing down my spine. Consider what's under the surface and the secrets that you might find. Spread my pages open, fingers and stanzas intertwined. Lose myself in the sensation of your words. Make love to me on paper, like spilling ink across my bed. Caress my curves with every syllable, leaving nothing left unsaid. I writhe with anticipation for the verse that lays ahead. Touch the surface of my skin with your words. Write your poetry inside my body, pressing deeper with every line, trembling with the rise and fall of your internal rhyme. A moment's pause, our caesura with the climax of our minds. Penetrate me, heart and body, with your words. It's just a little guy for you.
Yes, it's not so cold in here anymore all of a sudden. My goodness. Awesome. Thank you so much. That was more poems about poetry, please. Let's keep going and we'll jump over to Manan Voice. Hey Manan, how are you?
Peace. I am doing fantastic. It's so good to be here tonight. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being a part of it. This is kind of the second way that we've collaborated.
Yes.
I was just a fan of what you did and reached out to you. The first thing we did was a collaboration for my gallery opening last year where I asked you to pick somebody out that was influential to you. And I drew their portrait. And then that was in the gallery show. And you created a poem about that person and performed it at the opening. And that was just magical. I want to say thank you again for making that happen.
Yes, thank you for that invitation. I really appreciate that. I have a lot of respect for your art and for what you do, and really everybody on this platform tonight. Robin, this is my first time hearing of your work, but I really have respect for all of these artists. And so, so just very, very thankful for your work. TJ, you're quite the multi-hyphenate. So, the poet and the MC, I was listening to that first poem. I was like, it like so many bars, like so many like hip hop bars. And so I love that. The fusion, and so you're just like wildly talented. So
thank you. Well, speaking of wildly talented, what are you gonna hit us with first this evening?
You know what, do you mind if my first poem, so we are coming into Black History Month on Monday, and so one of the things that I would do if I was at a show is I would start with a poem from an ancestor, an elder poet. So I would love to just start with a poem by Audre Lorde, and then I'll do some of my own later. But it's a poem about poetry, but also about being Black. And so I think it's just really appropriate. And it's called Coal. I is the total Black being spoken from the earth's inside. There are many kinds of open. How a diamond comes into a knot of flame, how a sound comes into a word, colored by who pays what for speaking. Some words are open, like a diamond on glass windows, singing out within the crash of passing sun. Then there are words like stapled wagers in a perforated book, buy and sign and tear apart. And come whatever wills, all chances the stub remains. An ill-pulled tooth with a ragged edge. Some words live in my throat, breeding like adders. Others know sun seeking like gypsies over my tongue to explode through my lips like young sparrows bursting from shell. Some words bedevil me. Love is a word, another kind of open. As a diamond comes into a knot of flame, I am Black because I come from the earth's inside. Take my word for jewel in your open light. Coal by Audre Lorde. I love that.
Love it. And it really is like, yeah, I think it's a talent to take work and to take someone's poem and breathe your own life into it and find your meaning in all of those words. And I don't think it's something that people do enough of. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And I love Audre Lorde, and that was beautiful. Awesome. All right. Well, we've come to now the Tuesday Xavier Collective. Hello, how are you? Oh, still muted. Let's unmute you.
No, sorry, I muted myself because, quite honestly, y'all are going to start to notice, like, as I react to things, I do it verbally, and I can't be distracting everybody because we're not in person, and that's not the thing to do when you're not in person.
Awesome, I love it.
Hi, I'm the Tuesday Xavier Collective. I'm struggling over my words today. Everything that I write is a very visceral description of my life as it is and my perspective on it, being a Black trans woman in America. So I'm not going to apologize, but TJ, I'm sorry. I'm still not going to be any lighter than I normally am.
I would never ask you to. Bring the yeah. You want to go ahead and drop something for us?
Yeah. I've actually as the pandemic really started to hit, I started to actually walk away from writing. I had a lot of different things going on in my life. I lost my job. I got into a relationship that didn't end very well. Like I'm in and out of that relationship. And with the upheaval that came with that, I kind of walked away from being an artist. I just felt like I had other things to focus on. My mental health, very, very good, very obviously being one of those things. And I feel like I'm in a better place now. I live on my own. This is my apartment, and and I work at the Damien Center, and I do outreach for the homeless youth in this community. Our program is relatively new, but eliminating homelessness in general, but in particular homelessness for people that are under the age of 24, 25 is I don't have a word for it. The work that I do changes my life every single day, and it shows me something new every single day. What I'm reading is actually going to be related to the poster behind me. I enjoy playing fighting games. I don't actually have a Nintendo though. I've been playing Mortal Kombat a lot, and then I dropped it because people tend to be incredibly toxic playing fighting games, particularly when you have a really crappy character that you can get 2 moves and they're unblockable. But I'm not going to talk about NRS and Shiva and anything else about it. I'm going to do this poem, and then everything else after this actually is going to be about suicide and depression. So I'm just letting everybody know now, if you don't want to be, you won't be sad, I'm not the you're going to have to mute me the entire night. This poem is called 2-Player Game. Taught to fight, taught losing is not an option. Travel, play tournament, compete, Losing is not an option. Everyone who doesn't win, loser. Loser, loser. Losing is a pure indication of skill. Those who lose were cheated, robbed, suffered agony by player 2. They who lose do not reevaluate tactics. They don't practice. Fuck practice. You're fantastic. Player 2 looks like a fucking pussy. Player 2 plays like a girl. See, girls don't play. Player 2 should lay their controller down. Turn the heat up on the oven. Player 1, did you win? Options for losers? 0. Losers never recover. Luck is for losers. Bad ball bounces, bad decisions, bad sense of responsibility. I forgot to mention that this poem is about Madden and real things that happen in real life, but we're just going to keep going. Bad sense of responsibility. Unfavorable score. Player 1 has lost. Player 2 wins. The prize money, the trophy shot on Instagram, the hot date, the 5 seconds of clout that comes with winning a qualifying tournament where at the next level, everybody is capable of winning a qualifying tournament. Player 1 thinks this is unfair. Player 1 thinks they are the greatest. Player 1 thinks that they were robbed of what was rightfully theirs. So when player 2 takes what player 1 has felt is due by birthright, player 1 must act. Anger, rage, violence, beaten, virtually established dominance physically. Player 1, interrogate player 2. Player 1, find your gun. Ask player 2, where is this power you promised me? Player 1, inquire, are you better? Player 1, find your inner man. No. Is this worth pulling the trigger? Pull. For the victims of the Jacksonville Landy shooting, August 26, 2018.
That's powerful. Thank you so much. Love it. Yeah. I'm gonna keep going. I think. Can I share another piece? Is that okay? Is that silliness? No, I shouldn't. People in the chat are saying don't. Oh my God, no. But they're saying bring the real words Tuesday, and they're giving you a lot of encouragement. I love it. I love it. I'm gonna do a piece. What the hey? This is a piece I wrote that when my father passed away in the spring. It's called Ain't No Funerals. I've never read it out loud. Ain't no funerals during a pandemic. One more way it tries to break you. 'Cause even if you don't catch it, you can still let it take you. Ain't no gatherings, no luncheon, no fights. No so-and-so didn't show slights. Ain't no viewings, no burials. No veteran flyover aerials. No hugs from relatives you barely know, from the freshest to the very old. No sharing shots or passing joints. No late night jams. No lucky coins. No dressing up the body. No jazz club crawls. There's only texts and calls and walls. No flipping through the dresser drawers to see things that haven't ever changed. No helping your brothers get the furniture rearranged. No parts of the house to trigger all the laughter and the pain. No pulling back the rug to see the stain. No losing it in public and causing a scene. Only grieving alone in your home in quarantine. No final visit. No saying goodbye. No holding your mother to cry. My daddy died, but I can't see him. It's hard to be all carpe diem when nothing happens for a reason. I'm how he has survived. I'm agnostic, but God rest him. Was it the virus? They didn't test him. The weight of life finally did test him, but ain't no funeral. Maybe this summer, maybe this fall. I wonder if it will happen at all. It feels like all my feelings stall. There ain't no funerals. Thanks. Okay. So that was like a little light fun piece that I wanted to just lighten the mood with. Yeah, it's been a year, nearly a full year, and I'm still unable to process the pandemic in any real encompassing way. Thank you for your words. You're welcome. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And thank God there's art to bring us together. I'm going to pass it to Jason.
One of the things I've been struggling with for a couple of years is how to navigate emotions. And 2017 was a really, really hard year. I was divorced and was dealing with a lot of stuff there. And I treated a lot of people horribly. And I'm still, pretty ashamed by it. But over the past year, what I realized is I wanted to get back to where I was happiest. So I started writing love poetry again. And I find that when I write love poetry, when I'm single, it's awesome. Because I can really write what I feel. And, when you're with someone, there's a lot of pressure to write just those right things. So this is a poem I wrote in the fall of last year. I'll just start it. Oh, I asked her for water. Oh, she brought me gasoline. Howlin' Wolf. I can turn over with the best of them. Just turn the key and I got this. Full on combustion. You tell me it's sexy to watch my sleek fenders in the reflection of the storefront. I remember the first time that she saw me. I watched her bend her neck so fast that I almost skidded into a telephone pole. My tread was so hot and bothered that my chrome fell lonesome against the steel frame, cold in the winter, to match her fur coat. It was mink, I think, and I think that I could fall in love with her instead of the opposite, my goddess of the hunt. I will name her Artemis. I will remain loyal, but never to join her, for she would never have me in marriage. I'm a she. Her skin so soft, so fine. In my mind, she is the maiden of a T-Rex song. Yes, I can turn over with the best of them. Just love me, because I got this. My leather interior, so smooth that even 70s action movie stars want to relive their glory days. Driving through parking garage chase scenes, all squeals aside. Everyone wants to touch me. Flip through my radio dial, but only AM sexy. Only AM sexy music, so sexy to match the fuzzy dice dangling in the windshield. Grooving to such a soundtrack so well. My goddess of the hunt, Artemis, loves them. The groove, the music, the fuzzy dice beneath the sun. It'll be a hot one for you, my dear. And my air conditioner is a nightmare for summertime, for the expatriate, for the cancer lying in wait to eat the body, for the communion of this religious experience. Just love me, because I got this. Just keep me filled with water. The radiator is just enough to keep us cool, to keep your foot on the pedal. Just love me, because I got this. I hunger easily. I salivate like a meteor shower. We all make wishes upon falling stars, sending us over the moon, sliding across my hood, landing on my radial so cool. My muscles, convertible funky. Just love me, because I got this. Just love me. I will remain loyal, but never to join her would be my doom, for she would never have me in marriage, for I am just a machine. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. There's something about, not being in love and writing love poetry, but also being horny, that it just helps. it helps, so, it's like, for the big games, like save it up for the big game, it's kind of the same thing. Save it up for the big poem. So let's keep rotating around. And speaking of, poetry that has not afraid to have a sensual nature to it and a sexual nature to it. Robin, I think it's fair to say that you like to wade into those waters with your work.
I do very much. So as I mentioned, I have an open mic coming up soon, but that's part of the organization that I belong to is a nonprofit organization called Northwards. And you can find us on Facebook at Northwards NWT. And the mandate of our organization is to support and promote Northern and Indigenous writers. And so we have a festival every June. We bring up mentors from around the country, the best and the brightest of Indigenous writers around Canada. And then we offer mentorship programs to our Northern writers. And so at this festival, our favorite event, at least my favorite event, is an event called Blush. Blush is an evening of erotic poetry and prose. It's an open mic format, and so not only do our guest authors from around the country come up and perform some dirty shit for us, but it's also an open mic event, and it's my baby. And so appropriately, the poem I'm going to perform is just a little guy that's called Blush. It starts with a grin, without so much as a touch, and the room full of people seems suddenly hushed. I have to admit I have a bit of a crush. Your sweet smile is making me blush. I watch your mouth as you speak. We have much to discuss. The curve of your cheek, your lips full and lush. A shift in my seat, the heat makes me adjust. Your words are making me blush. Later, standing so close, your fingertips brush the nape of my neck. My face is growing flushed. Take your time, because we're not in a rush. Your mouth on mine is making me blush. Your hand in my hair, the air laden with lust. Your hand slips up my dress and pulls me close with a thrust. And I gasp, and in that moment, I want you so much. Your hands are making me blush. It's building this feeling like I might just erupt. My knees start to buckle. To your chest, I am clutched. This wave of emotion comes with a gush. I love how you make me blush. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, I think we've all experienced hearing someone's words and going gaga, immediately thinking, wow, this is not only something I want, somebody I want to know, but something I want to know how to do, and have the power of those words. Let's keep going. And whose turn is it? I've lost track. Is it Manan? Is it your turn?
I think so.
I think so. Awesome. Right. What do you have to share with us this evening?
It's hard to follow up. Oh man, with that mood that you just set for us, I'm just gonna bring us down. No, I'm just kidding. No, so I started off with Audre Lorde, and this piece that I'm gonna do is actually inspired by her idea. She coined this phrase called biomythography, which is a weaving of history, biography, and myth. And so it really is a term that encapsulates all of the elements that make up who we are, all of the people, the places that shape us. And so this poem is inspired by that idea of a biomythography. And it's actually this sort of ongoing poem that's always evolving, and I change it because that's good, because like we change, right? And so we should always kind of, and so I like that it's a living, dynamic poem. And I am living with that poetry can be that way, that it doesn't have to be something that we put like the period on. So this poem is called Blue Jazz. If anyone ever asks, tell them that I am the blue jazz rising up like smoke beneath the broken concrete steps of a dim-lit basement in Harlem. If anybody ever asks, tell them that I am the blue jazz rising up like smoke beneath the broken concrete steps of a dim-lit basement in Harlem. that all at once I was Renaissance and Strivers Row, wild-hearted like the Savoy, a flapper girl at birds, twirling through life's cemetery on a high. Tell them that it was there that I lost myself in the trumpet mouths of the prophets and found myself on the other side of the sub-Saharan Nile, pulsing through the drumhead of a griot, that I watched my ancestors go cross many oceans in chains, returning to me in my dreams, speaking my real name back to myself, for their pilgrimage is my pilgrimage and their pilgrimage is our pilgrimage. If anybody ever asks, tell them that I too heard the haunt of high cheekboned women praying with amputated tongues deep within the forest gods, that I knelt there among sistering stars and many moons and made memorials of their many names between ruby rivers. If anybody ever asks, tell them that it was me. That it was me. It was me. I was the whistling wind whipping through the thighs of bow-legged women and limping men struggling for their come up. I stood on the street corners with them, watching them play the dozens, talking the street slick of the city beneath their tongue clicks. I watched their brittle mouths that inhale Yah, the same brittle tongues that move their breaths out of way, laden with so much soot and curse and ash. And I have seen too many of their laughs left unfinished, and too many of their lives come and go, so much so that the coming around of these hearses is starting to feel like a rehearsal. The coming around of these hearses is starting to feel like a rehearsal. The coming around of these hearses has started to feel like a rehearsal, and my stomach has been the pit that you have laid them in. Yes, I am the walking dead with all of the Black lives that I have buried in my psyche, lives that haven't been reserved for hospital beds with the silver cross of a chaplain. Instead, the police have become our gods, casting our black skin blue beneath their red fury of sirens, beating us to the white bone. The American flag has become our body bag. If anybody ever asks, tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. Tell them that it was with broken hands that I often encrypted this Kemet. So I write and write and write, because every day I feel death crawling up my very sleeve. So I write and write and write to shake off these reaper of thieves. And sometimes I am prone to roll up this paper and hit these lines, this loose leaf, the only thing that can loose me from my grief. If anybody ever asks, tell them that yes, sometimes I was a walking contradiction, fighting to make peace with myself, like war, tripping backwards and falling in love. Tell them that yes, I was a lover, giving not just my blouse, but my back as script and canvas, my tongue as kiss and apothecary. Tell them that I was a dreamer, seeing God in earth and sea and sky and blue. In this conversation tonight between me and you, tell them that I was a mother giving birth to deferred dreams, but that don't mean that I didn't conceive. If anybody ever asks, tell them last that I live my life as a Black woman, and that's jazz. That's jazz. That's jazz. That's improv. I made it up as I went. Like somewhere between Lucille Clifton's bridge and the part where this piece begins again. Come, won't you celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed? If anybody ever asks, tell them that I am just the blue jazz rising up like smoke beneath the broken concrete steps of a dim-lit basement in Harlem, that all at once I was Renaissance and Strivers Row, wild-hearted like the Savoy, a flapper girl at birds twirling through life's cemetery on a high. If ever I am read, let it be said that I fed with just 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. Look at what God can do with the broken. Tell them that I was the art and the artist, the composer and the composition. Tell them that I was just a struggling poem trying to be transcribed. That's that piece.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Yes, it's such a pleasure to hear you do that thing, you know? So, we have a great quote in there. It's just, and it just zeroed in when you were reading. Speaking of living poetry, there's nothing I love more than hearing a poem right from the mouth of the poet who really knows how to say it. Thank you, Manan Voice, for your perspective on the world. That's beautiful. And the rehearsal of the hearses over and over again. I mean, like, yeah, fire. Thank you. All right. I think we want to hear another piece by the Tuesdays Xavier Collective. How you doing over there?
I feel like I might retire. I can't cover that. I can't go past that. There's nothing that I can do. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm done. I'm sorry. This is me officially saying there's nothing coming out after this. I'm deleting everything and I'm going off to live. I don't know. Brazil.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign when every single person is like, I can't go after that.
I know, right? But no, you are ridiculously talented, for the record. I love the idea that your poem just doesn't die. Like, I felt like I had a poem that was like that a while ago and then it died. Like, I haven't gone back and looked at it since. Like, like it takes dedication to keep like changing something like that and to keep evolving it and to keep it fresh that way. That's incredibly fantastic. I feel
the same way about you, Susie. I just have to say that, like, I do. Your creative range, the subject matter is so it's so broad and it's deep and it's wide, and so I love all of these threads that you're able to pull through your work, and like the metaphors and the analogs. It's like really, really powerful. So I have been a fan of yours for a long time. So thank you.
It's illegal to make Black people blush, right? Right. Oh, thank you. As everybody have been warned, we're going down the road less traveled, that dark one. I'm not gonna like precurse everything. I'm not gonna go on forever. That's also a thing I'm trying to stop doing. I was writing a book and then it didn't happen, and now I'm at the point where I'm changing everything. So this is rewritten shit. Siege, raid, super new shit. Siege, raid, pillage, raise. I wear my comfort clothes every day. I intend to be cremated. Do it all. Socks, shoes, sandblasted flesh. Lying to myself, never hoped, never helped. So I wove theirs into my skin. I'll never be their Black. I'll never be their woman. I will never be their queen. So I walk out the front door in my favorite skirts, top shelf tees, my comfy cape. This is a cape. Candy-coated confidence, hoping to spot the trick question and pass enough to repel the odds of being a statistic, taking mental damage, but never a blind spot in my perspective. Some days my schedule slides by in a satisfactory sequence, and I still want to call it quits. Suicide is a perspective from the penthouse suite. Pain like this doesn't exist in a furnace under a sheet. Am I saying anything to anybody? Who am I to say anything at all? Is this futile from your perspective? May I die tonight? I promise I'm okay.
Thank you. I love it. Love it. And, I mean, cross-pollination, like what I can hope to happen is that artists make connections and that, we inspire each other and we create community to keep going, because part of what we do, I think we create art and we'd be fine, like keeping it in a vacuum. But I think part of the creative process is sharing it with people. And that moment that you get to get it out. Like, I wrote that piece about my dad, but I hadn't cried about it, I hadn't let that out. And by the way, I didn't cry. I had some onion. I was chopping up some onion, by the way. I'm a rapper. I don't fucking cry. But it was, that was a completion of that piece for me a year later. So, I appreciate the connections that are made in that way. Yes. Jason, would you like to share another piece? Jason, you and I go back really, really far. Like, like I started doing poetry in indie, and I think, Manan picked up on kind of like hip hop was my first love, and I always just freestyled. And then I got pulled into poetry, and it really taught me about writing and looking at that. And you and I had we toured, represented Indianapolis. We smashed cities and poetry slams.
Yes.
We went to Michigan. We went to
Oh,
the Green
where
Mill
was
in
it?
Chicago. We went to the New Eurekan. We did all this. Yeah.
We blazed some trails. And some of those cities I don't think will allow us to come back. I'm pretty sure Ann Arbor won't let us come back. I remember the first time I ever saw you perform. It was at Modern Times Urban Truck Stop. And you walk in and
Which is Yats now.
yeah, it's Yats now. And I remember you walked in and I think it was Christina Williams. She like nudged me. She's like, "You got to hear him." And you got up and I mean, you just dropped it so hard. And I was just like, holy shit, I can't do this. And the blessing was, I mean, you didn't know this, but I mean, you challenged me to, I was like, man, I mean, the bar's been raised now. And, at the time I had been doing it for, just shy of 10 years performing. And I thought, I was believing my hype. I thought I was like, cool, I had it made and, I was there and I appreciated, that whole time where we were there and we were at the Lockerbie Coffee House and we were kind of everywhere because I mean, I learned so much. And what I love about that is that's a cycle that constantly happens with the poetry scene that I've seen, especially with me personally, is that I meet and hear new poets and it challenges me to continue writing. And because every time I hear it, I'm like, the bar's been raised. So I go back home and I lock myself in my writing room and throw on some John Coltrane or Miles Davis or something. And I'm just like, I close off. But yeah, man, we've had some times together, man. And I really appreciate that. So I just finished recording a new album, and it's a shorter album because I just wanted to kind of get something out there for the spring, and it's called Love Work. Because as I stated earlier, I've been writing a lot about love, and I feel it's a comfortable spot for me. So I'm going to read a portion of that. It's one piece, believe it or not. So I'm going to try to. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read a little bit. So here goes. I am not very adept at this, but there is a shiny disc in the sky. Yeah, that's my best. My best pickup lines are stolen from satellite views of you, a muse of poetry, pantoums written of you, or is that a blue moon? I follow a syntax of ancient tragedies, where only gods greedy get the girl. They get the heads of suitors, always looking surprised as they're staring up from baskets. Eloquence always falls short of lechery during an orgy. So they tell me love sins just as hard as love sins just as easy as legs intertwine electric. Bringing together purer elements than the bill and coo of a new life. Together in love, we touch grazing skins. We shudder to peak with humility. Arching backs, reacting to gliding tongues, so left to our own devices, languages lost among the headlong muscle memory carnality of the warmth of this making love out of so many definitions of the flesh. Thanks.
Thank you. Awesome. Yes. All right. Let's keep rolling with Manan. What do you have going on? Do you have any projects that you're working on? Anything that you're really excited about?
Yes, I'm actually working on two big projects. A chapbook. I'm trying to put out my first chapbook of poetry. So I've been writing, and I'm also working simultaneously on a hip hop album. So trying to do both of those things, and really, really excited about both. And so I have been such a spoken word performer for several years. And now I think now I just think it's time to really put something in print, and because like something that can live on and go further than just sort of like my physical presence in a space.
Yeah.
So I would love to really make that happen in 2021.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So what's your what last piece do you have for us today to share?
Yeah, I was I was thinking about what I was going to share, and I think this is a poem. It's kind of a vulnerable poem that I've never shared, but listening to Tuesday and listening to you and the vulnerability of grief and of the things that we are kind of holding during this time. This is a poem that's actually that I've written recently. That's a part of the book, my chat book. So it's called Unsaid, and it just has to deal with what it means to deal with depression and to deal with sadness as a Black woman and all of what that comes with. So I just had it open there. Okay. All right. My sadness has bloomed, a prodigious garden under the nestle of my breast, my ribs wearing vines I will not call depression. These fancy things that sod me, pull breath taut, weigh me blue, take the tongue out of my getting ready to say, God, I am so very sad. What can be more awful? Self-refusal, clod-mouthed, a Black woman for whom those words spell sadness not said. No one will ever say that. I sleep with unsaid. It's a whole body. I know the curving hips of it and plentiful long-backed plateaus of night raids driving my mad into murk, its blinking eyelids flashing the darkness of my bedroom with freight-wrecked light nightstand trembling merciless din of days upon days of lugging tongues that pile like the wet dead, filling the songs of organs on shores of war with hymns of lament, replete these temples, and way back the lament always called for a woman in Black. Why is that? Why does the color on a woman have to do with being sad? What does the color on a woman have to do with being sad? All the more heft to be pallbearer for. This pain, I hate to say, I have so much of it. Pain, yes, it's me. You know me by it. Do you see what I'm saying? We are so indivisible that you didn't even notice. My worst fear is to die hiding a disease the coroner cannot see. My worst fear is to die hiding a disease the coroner did not see.
Thank you. And so you see, Manan's website is streaming at the bottom, and we've been kind of sharing the social media. So, definitely, follow us, link with us. Let's expand our circles. Let's cross-pollinate and get to know each other. And if you're really moved with somebody and you want to throw them a couple of dollars, feel free. We're all here just, volunteering, just sharing our work. And it's a tough time for artists. So, if you feel like reaching out and paying a little forward, go for it. So thank you for that piece. That was beautiful. Yeah, I appreciate, just having some ears, like as simple as that is, just knowing someone is listening is a beautiful thing. Let's go to Robin. I think it's Robin's turn. Yeah. What do you have for us, Robin?
All right, so I'll do one last piece from. So it's no secret that I love writing about sex. I think it's fun and it's funny. I like doing it in a rhyme that sounds like Dr. Seuss on MDMA. Like it's kind of my jam. But at the same time, I feel like there's still aspects of sexuality that don't show up on stage, that aren't being talked about. And so one of those aspects is about ethical non-monogamy. I feel like the polyamory community still isn't often being represented, and there's still a stigma attached to non-monogamy. And so this particular piece I perform at every opportunity because I want to help reduce that stigma as a polyamorous person. So this piece is called Not Your Girlfriend. Holding hands, a date Saturday night, making out in a cab and an upstairs invite, but not with you, and that's completely all right because I'm not your girlfriend. I kiss other people, I've told you before. I have no secrets once I walk out your door. There's a whole world out there to explore because I'm not your girlfriend. I'll sleep in your sheets and then be sure to leave. We've both gotten all that we hope to achieve. I don't get why this is so hard to believe because I'm not your girlfriend. Don't pick up the phone. You don't have to call. I swear my feelings won't be hurt at all. Take your time. I won't be pacing the halls because I'm not your girlfriend. You don't have to lie or hide your affairs. How can I help you to know that I really don't care who or what you are doing when I'm not there? Because I'm not your girlfriend. But don't think I don't love you, because I honestly do, and I don't want this freedom to be misconstrued. I just know that I don't have possession of you because I'm not your girlfriend. I won't give you rules that you have to obey because of a fear that you might not stay. As long as you love me, I can't be betrayed because I'm not your girlfriend. Thank you.
Love it. Yes. It's like when we speak our truth, it's our truth. Nobody's spoken it before, but sometimes we represent a lot of people that haven't been heard. And I think that's a part of what might push us to create poetry and create this medium that is just so much about thought and message that we want to get through. And yes, Dr. Seuss on MDMA is just such a great description of that. But also, it's like it moves the bigger picture. We have, there's someone, in our chat that is, poly repping and is happy to speak out because you spoke out. And I love that. So thank you. Okay, so Tuesday Xavier Collective, how we doing?
I'd be doing a lot better if I knew how to unmute myself. As you may or may not have noticed, my cat has decided to try and steal the show. This is Casimira. I've had her for about a month, and it's great because I didn't know she was pregnant, and now I also have 3 kittens. So I've got Casimira, and I've got 3 unnamed kittens. So if you want a kitten, hit me up. She's young, so she didn't have too many, so it's not gonna be like a struggle. But yeah, that's the thing that's happening.
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to say real quick, if you subscribe to 2MB Studios, you do get a free kitten. So just shout out. You have to pick it up.
Limited to the first 3 people who subscribe. Limited to the first 3 people who subscribe. And see, as soon as you show her face, she disappears. She's ready to go now. She's like, all right, everybody saw I was cuter. It's fine.
What do you have to share? What's your
I'm gonna give this little piece that I have a twirl. I keep it off the top of my head. It's really heavy on I can't speak. It's really heavy on alliteration. It's really heavy on alliteration. When I first started reading poetry, there was a guy who would come by. His name is Andrew, and he would always stand there with an empty notebook, all extra Bob Burnham style. And literally, he would stand there, and he had some of the most alliterative poems I've ever seen. I really can't tell you. Like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody use that many A words in one sentence, one poem. Andrew was absolutely fantastic. I ain't seen him in a while, so like, if anybody ever finds Andrew, just tell him I said hello. But also, I don't think he knows me as Tuesday, because when I first started doing poetry, I wasn't even out as a trans person. But that's history for you. Before I go, I do want to say if you're struggling to find something to put your time or energy into, if you feel kind of overwhelmed by the pandemic itself, there are a lot of places that you can spend your time at that have nothing to do with my job. You can go work at the No Questions Asked food pantry. They always need food. They always need donations. They always need hands on deck. Honestly, all the different food pantries, homeless shelters, Wheeler Mission Outreach, Julian, all these different places could use volunteers. All these different places could use time, attention, donations. So if you're in a place where you don't have to worry about your rent or your groceries, things like that, if you're lucky enough to have to still have a way to bring in money on a regular basis, and you're like, hey, I want to do something besides just wear my mask and like do what we're supposed to be doing, like you can always spend your time helping people who are still living out on the streets, still dealing with living in food deserts, all the different kinds of situations that pop up when you live in a metro area, or even if you're living out in rural areas. It's more common for a rural area to be a food desert because of how many Walmarts there are and how spread out they are, and that's your only option. So I'm gonna leave it there. Although I will say, if you want to follow me on Instagram, just type in the Tuesday Xavier Collective. My @ is an accident. So I'm going to do this poem that's actually shorter than everything that I've just told you. I like alliteration, and as always, everything about me is either queer, Black, or about being mentally ill. So here we go. A duel at dawn between me and my demons. The demons to deem dead name too damaged to dictate verbal doodles, Dindians and dimly lit bars, and in dwellings with desks full of rearranged dictionaries. I say to thee, verily, I didn't duel my demons. I danced as death with my demons. I killed them. What have you done today? I like to mess with that. The ending is always something different. I appreciate y'all. I'm glad that TJ, thank you so much for putting this event on. Jason, Manon, Robin, thank you so much. Robin, let me know when that let me know let me know when your festival is happening. I don't have to actually perform. I really just want to be there for it. Like that just sounds like that sounds like something you just shouldn't miss, like as a human being. Like that just sounds like something that honestly is just so rare, something that you don't actually see, like pulling those intersections together. Like I feel like it's like a once in a lifetime thing. I want to be there. So if so if TJ's got all the information and the stuff that's down there, like if you want to like just let me know when that's happening, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody being here, and I'm gonna shut my mouth. Go ahead, TJ.
I've had some like great shows and great times connecting with people, but this has probably been my favorite because everybody just has brought it. And poetry, just it's stripped down. It's you bring your identity to it, and you hear people speak and you know them, like you are connected to them, and their expression becomes your expression, and the better they are, the more they are able to express what you're feeling, even if it's from a totally different identity than you're feeling, because doesn't matter who we are. When it comes down to it, we all feel the same feelings, and we're fighting the same fights, and we're all dealing with this rough year that we have, and I appreciate chances to collect and connect artistically to people. I think I'm just going to close with one piece, and this is a disastrous piece. A story about this piece. One time I did this at some weird venue in downtown Indianapolis. I don't even know what it was, but I won this slam and I got tickets to a hotel room in New York. And I was like, they were like 2 weeks. And I was like, fuck it, I went. And it was overlooking Times Square. And when I read this poem, I think of that and the fun that happened in that hotel room. So, but oh, and when I read this, it was in front of some open windows, kind of like this cafe I'm at right now. And a storm was going on, and it just started right before. The rain was hitting the windows really hard. There was lightning. In a righteous spurt, she put the dirt on red alert, phoned every plant through vibrations in the earth. ready the shores to attack formation. When the tidal waves run out, she's got more waiting in the clouds. Crowds of fault lines prepare for their all-time worst. The young torrents will be raw and unrehearsed. She suggested to the snow flurries to go purely on aggression, strikes up a conversation with lightning as a secret weapon. Instructed all islands to pile into the ocean. She's the twisted mechanic who rigged the volcanic expulsions. Her hands guide every landslide. Taking all into account, it matters little when a man dies. Taking all into account, it matters little when man dies. So now a storm is coming. A storm is coming. But you ain't heard the forecast? You better be moving your ass. Put the pedal to the floor fast. Cause it's some heavy stakes when the levee breaks. Yet we dismiss it as a bunch of hippie belly aches. Conservatives conserve the least. We murder peace. Guess what? We disturb the beast. And the government ain't even starting to listen. Monitor Facebook more than carbon emissions. And your conversations on their headphones as we're fed clones, because the ocean's becoming a massive dead zone. So who gives a buck if I got nice raps, if my voice is drowned out beneath melting ice caps? It ain't political. You can't avoid division. Life on Earth will return to basic organisms. It's about damn time mankind finally lost it, because Mother Nature doesn't like being accosted. So now the storm is coming.
Yeah. Bars.
Yeah. Okay. So let's turn it around and keep the heat on the Biden administration, because we got to keep going. I want to thank our guests, Jason Ammerman, Manon Voice, Robin Scott, and the Tuesday Xavier Collective. This has been a magical night. Michelle La Poetica is going to join us next month, next time we do this. So if you saw on the flyer. But this has been just a great night. Thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Stick around for a second and we'll debrief. I want to talk to you guys a little more. But coming up next, we got Tookie Kavanaugh and the wrap up. Oh God, I can't remember the show. What kind of a host am I? But that's coming up. So stick around. It's a great show. It's hilarious. She's hilarious. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. It's called The Rehash. And I just remembered that off the top of my head. With Tookie Kavanaugh. And join us again. I appreciate all y'all. So much love to everybody out there. Reach out, follow us, and know that, you're not alone. It feels like it, but you're not. Much love. Have a great night.